Hello, and welcome to Improbable Things. I'm J. Grace Pennington, and this is my podcast where I share 6 improbable thoughts before breakfast, which consists of 6 thoughts about reading, writing, or storytelling in general. So I have got my 6 things together, and I managed to actually get up early enough this morning to get some podcasting in. So let's get started. Number 1, of course, I first have to talk about how Intoxication is now published. I officially released it, I think 3 days ago at this point, on ebook and paperback. And I haven't gotten to actually hold paperbacks in my hands yet. I did order some right away, but they generally take a while to ship. So it'll still be a little bit, but I ordered some for myself and then people I want to give a copy to. So hopefully it actually looks okay in person. But I've never had any problems, so I'm sure it'll be lovely. But I am really excited to get this one out there. I think I've already mentioned that I had so much fun writing it. Having Crash come back into the world of the series has been great because he is so much fun to write. And I know that people enjoy him as readers also. So anyway, really excited about this one. Really glad to have it out there. You can now get it on Amazon, paperback, ebook, whatever you like. So yeah, that's my big news around here. And it does mark the midpoint of the series because it's book 9 in the 18-book series. And it also is the first time I've managed to get 2 Firmament books out in a single calendar year, which I've always intended to do and have only just now managed to do, which it's kind of crazy that I actually got it done now that I have a newborn and 3 other little kids, and I didn't ever somehow manage to do it when I was single or, newly married with no children. I don't know. I think it's just, I've talked about now, the way I prioritize time is just different. But regardless, I'm really excited that that worked out and hope that any of you who read it really enjoy it. Number 2, I mentioned last time that the next book is called Progenitor. And I did have to write the first chapter for that to put at the end of Intoxication. So if you do buy Intoxication, you will get a little teaser at the end of the book for the first chapter of the next book. But I thought I would go ahead and share with y'all the description that I wrote for Progenitor. So here it is. With hyperwarp travel temporarily banned, the surveyor turns toward home on a new assignment. Someone is breaking the laws of space travel, someone who may have had a hand in all the corruption Andy and the crew have endured over the past 2 years. Crash, shaken by recent events, confesses his longest-held secret to Andy and the doctor. He has a son. When he tries to make amends, however, the boy is nowhere to be found, and the ensuing frantic search leads to a dark figure from Crash's past he never expected to reemerge. Each step they take to rescue the boy brings them closer to uncovering the enemy behind a plethora of past adventures. Kidnapping, espionage, and conspiracy can't stop Andy from discovering the truth. But will the truth tear her family apart? That's just the description. Hopefully it intrigues you enough that you want to continue the series. But I'm looking forward to writing this one. Again, it's one I've been looking forward to for many years. And so, yeah, that's going to be fun. I don't know exactly when I'll start work on it, or continue work on it rather, but it will most likely be next year. I won't probably have time to do it this year for reasons that I will state in just a moment. So number 3, my current project, and I think I mentioned this a little bit at some point, but I'm not sure what I said about it in the past, so if I repeat myself, then I apologize. But I am participating in the next Very Bookish holiday collection. I've done a couple of these in the past, the Christmas and the Thanksgiving editions, and I am excited to be able to participate in this last collection, which is a Valentine's Day collection. It's called A Very Bookish Romance, and it is going to be released in January. So I am writing, my novella is called Southeaster Lodge, and it is based on Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. And so I originally, when I was writing it, it was difficult to get it written with a newborn around. I wrote it in September and October. And basically, I just had to set a 10-minute timer and write what I could. And that was all I got done for the day. And miraculously, I somehow got it finished, got it beta read, got some feedback, and I'm now working on rewriting it. And what's interesting, although I don't know why this surprises me because it happens almost every time, is that as I was writing it, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was about the worst thing ever penned. It just seemed so boring and lifeless, and I just couldn't stand it. But then my beta reader liked it. And now going back to it and doing some quick rewrites, because I actually don't think it's going to need that much rewriting, I'm finding, as usual, that it's not nearly as bad as I thought. Like, it definitely needs some little tweaks, and it is, I mean, it's a novella, so it's a fairly straightforward story because there's just not a lot of time for a bunch of like plot twists and turns, but I do like the characters and the setting, and I think it's hopefully a sweet, wintry holiday Valentine's Day read. And also romance is not generally my genre, so that might be partly why I had such a hard time with it. But anyway, hopefully people will enjoy it. I'm actually enjoying rewriting it more than I thought I would. And so yeah, we'll be talking more about that over the next few months. And like I said, it'll be released. The collection will be released in January, so start getting excited for that. And number 4, I talked last week about how my 2-year-old didn't know most of her letters and letter sounds, and she knew maybe like 3 or 4 letters, and when I would try to do flashcards with her, she didn't really get them or whatever. Well, one of my honestly favorite parts about having kids and seeing them learn and grow is how sometimes, especially when they're this little, it's just like a switch just flips in their mind overnight, and they'll just have like this big leap. One evidence of that lately has been puzzles. So actually, both at the same time, my 3, almost 4-year-old suddenly in like the past week loves puzzles, like big, like 24 to even 48, 50 piece puzzles, which she could not do at all before and had no interest in. And then suddenly one day she was like, I'm going to do a puzzle, and she could do it. And she loves it. She does puzzles every day, like almost all the puzzles we have, she does them all every day. And then the same with my 2-year-old, it's just she couldn't really do even the little wooden puzzles that have like 6 or 7 pieces. And then suddenly yesterday she got one out and she just did it. And literally she was trying to do it just a few days ago and couldn't, and was crying and whatever. And it's just amazing to me. I'm like, there's just things developing in there, and something happens where suddenly they get something. And so the same thing also happened to her at the same time. Whatever development is going on in her brain, something happened with her letters, because yesterday she was playing with letter magnets and she kept bringing letters to me, and she knew almost all of them. And she'd hold one up and she'd be like, what does the J say? And she knew most of the sounds too. Not like some of them, she still didn't know the sounds, but she knew almost all the letters and way more sounds than she's known in the past. And I love when she quizzes me too, because she acts all excited for me when I know the answer. So she'd bring it to me and she'd be like, Mommy, what does the K say? And I tell her and she goes, yay! And so a lot. And so it was just so much fun. I love seeing that with kids, just watching them get things and get excited and learn new things and understand new things. And it's so much fun. And that's one of my favorite parts already of homeschooling too, is watching, those light bulbs go off and just seeing them grow and learn and understand. So it's pretty awesome. So number 5, am I currently reading? I just finished The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. And this one I have read about a decade ago. My mom suggested it, and I read it and really enjoyed it. It's a big mystery with twists, and I'm not going to give any spoilers in my brief discussion of it, because that would just ruin it. I mean, it's a mystery of sorts, so the spoilers are like the good part. But it was also one of those that it's a really fun reread because once you know some of the secrets and plot twists, it gives a whole new perspective on the rest of the story. And so reading it again from that perspective was a different experience. But also, since I don't tend to remember books very well, and particularly this one I'd read like a decade ago, other than the really big reveals, I didn't remember that much else about it. So that was kind of fun too. Like I was able to rediscover a lot of things. So that was a good one. It was for my book club, and it was one that I had suggested, and someone else also suggested completely independently of me. So, and everyone liked it. No one gave it lower than an 8 out of 10, even our harshest raters. So it was a really fun discussion, and it was a fun read, and it gave me some more thoughts that I'm going to go into a little more in just a minute. So number 6, again, I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but I will say one thing in The Secret Keeper is it does a lot of like back and forth in time, and there's a mystery that this character is trying to figure out about her mother. It almost starts at the end, like something that this character witnesses her mother do something, and then is trying to figure out years later what happened and why. And then it's going back and forth between her mother's life in the past and her trying to figure it out in the present, and all of this sort of unraveling, slowly unraveling the story and the secrets, and just drawing out the suspense and all of that. And I was very impressed with the author's skill in that, but it also got me thinking about how much what matters in writing and storytelling is honestly a lot of times it's not even as much the story itself as how you choose to tell the story. Because I couldn't help thinking as I was reading this book, if she had just told the story chronologically, it might have been okay, but it would not have been remotely as interesting if she had just kind of told what happened instead of making it a mystery and making it, all these little cliffhangers at the end of chapters and drawing you forward like by revealing a little at a time of what had happened in the past. Like that was what was great about it. And so if she had just said, oh, I had this idea for a story and I'm going to just, start at the beginning, and once there was this young girl in World War II, and then she did this and that, and then later she grew up, and then later she did this, like without making it something that you're trying to figure out and trying to learn and discover. And it just would not have been remotely as interesting, like nowhere close. And I kind of discovered that a little bit when I wrote my short story Surrogate. I knew that I wanted to write a story about surrogate motherhood and the effect that it had on this woman. But when I was trying to write it, and originally I was trying to write it while this woman was pregnant, and it was not coming together. Like I just could not make it interesting. And I tried a few times and it wasn't working. And then one day I suddenly had the epiphany that instead of showing the pregnancy, I would only show the aftermath and not at first reveal what had happened that had an effect on this woman, and then slowly show you throughout the story, give hints as to what it was, and never even actually say, but basically reveal by the end what it was, and just give a snapshot of this woman's psychological disturbance. And so when I did that, it just all came together. And in my opinion, obviously I'm not an objective party, but I think it turned out well, and I think it turned out so much more interesting. And I know that it was more interesting to write and so much more fun to write. And I was so much more pleased with the result than all those times that I tried to tell a more straightforward story. So I was just, so much of storytelling is not really the facts and the characters and the plot as much as what you reveal and how and when you choose to get into the story or into a scene, when you choose to get out, what you choose to exclude, what you choose to include. Like that's really more like the meat and bones of storytelling, is how the story is told. Because anyone can, tell a story, but a lot of your individual, artistry and craftsmanship is going to be how it's done and all those things, and also the words you use and the style. And it's just there's so much more to storytelling than just the events of the story. And so it was really fun to observe the way that Kate Morton did that in her story, and to just be inspired by that and be reminded of the importance of that element of writing. So anyway, it's a really intriguing book, and fairly clean too. Like, there's a little bit of language, and there's some romance, but it doesn't show you anything. Like, it's not graphic, and there's much less language than most contemporary fiction. So anyway, if you like World War II fiction, plot twists, and sort of mysteries, it's very long, but it was very enjoyable for sure. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm glad I got a chance to just sneak away this morning. It's worth losing an extra 20 minutes of sleep to come chat with y'all. And as always, I would love to hear your thoughts, any stories you have of this little light bulb moment with kids, thoughts about how the way you tell a story can be important. And of course, if you get a chance, please do read the newest Firmament book, Intoxication, and let me know what you think about that. And I will keep you updated on my progress on any other projects. So again, thank you so much for being here with me. I hope that everyone has a great day and a great weekend, and stay improbable. Bye.